好，同学们，我们都在轰轰烈烈的，站起来，站起来。Welcome out there to the 251st edition of China Now, 中国现在, with your gang of two, Nan Su, who is a senior investigative reporter for Epoch Times, and Michael Olson, who is dissuaded from being a China hand by the great helmsman himself, Mao Zedong. Each week, Nan Su and I look out across the broad expanse of the Pacific Ocean from our home port here at SantaCruzVoice.com, and we ask, China now, friend or foe, war or peace? Ni hao, Nan Su.
Hey, pretty good, Michael.
All goes
Thank
well.
you.
So, Pins and Needles Week in Zhongnanhai, which is the forbidden city of the Chinese Communist Party elite, and a place that you and I may not go, that's for sure. We better not go there. Why? Well, because there is, as we speak, an ongoing attempt to overthrow the resident warden, Chairman Xi Jinping. Will this coup attempt succeed? Well, our first big clue will arrive on the tube Wednesday, September 3rd, when video of the CCP's, you may not call me now, when the video of the CCP shows up on our television screen and we see whether Chairman Xi Jinping is reviewing the troops from the back of his splendid convertible, driving back and forth and yelling exhortations to the troops. Will be interesting to see. If he's
that's a breakfast. That's a breakfast back.
Well, that's part of it. So if we do see that Xi Jinping is reviewing the troops from the open convertible, we will know that the coup has not yet succeeded, and I will then owe co-host Nan Su a breakfast. But if we do see somebody else in that convertible, we will know that Xi Jinping is on his way to checking out of Zhongnanhai. And
I'll be happy to host you.
And then I get a breakfast. So either way, I suspect for those denizens of Zhongnanhai that it is going to be a pins and needles week because I don't think they know what's going to happen. What do you think, Don?
I don't have that hope. I don't have the hope. As far as I can see, there is a short solution for this. So I think we better spend every minute and every second that we still have to prepare for war. Now, only if we are prepared, fully prepared, we can defend the peace. That which means more might not happen.
Yeah.
But if we are not prepared, if we have any weakness,
they will find it. It will be found. Yes. I think, and I have been saying this for 251 editions of China Now, that I believe that the only way we will not get in a fight with China is that if it goes completely belly up. And that's the only way that I see.
Well, it doesn't have to be a war. You know, we are going to have a fight. We are already in the fight.
We're in the fight.
But it doesn't have to be a war. So if we are we are fully prepared, at least we can defend the peace. You know, it's an economic fight, like whatever Trump is doing right now. He tried to have economic sanction, put a lot of sanction in place to stop the Ukraine war. We may end up, if we are fully prepared, and then Xi Jinping sees there's no way he can win the war against us, then he may choose a fight against the Western world. In the economic way instead of a war.
Yeah, which is what we've been doing for quite some time. We've been engaged in an economic war, only we didn't know it. But China certainly knew it and has been playing that war game to the hilt and has been succeeding immensely in its efforts to supplant the United States and the rest of the world when it gets right down to it. Subjugate, I guess would be a better word. Subjugate the United States and the rest of the world to its will.
You know, only way, I think that the only way that we can actually stop this alliance, this new emerging power on the Asian Pacific continent, you know, China, Russia, so on and so forth,
North Korea, Iran,
all these countries, right? Now, I think we got the European countries with us, and we start a sanction against Russia and all its allies together. You know, we don't play along. See, the European countries has been buying oil from Russia all these years, you know, while the war is still going on. Now we are putting the secondary tariffs on India. But what is the EU members doing? They're not doing anything.
They're not doing a thing. Nope.
They are facing the threat. And we are charging the tariffs against India, and the India is going to, return those tariffs to us because they are going to escalate their tariffs too. So we are paying for it. And what the hell the European countries are doing? You know, they are the ones facing the threat. They are the ones jumping up and down. Why do we have to take care of this thing alone?
Well, we don't. And I think that's one of the things that Trump is making perfectly clear, whether he can get Russia or the European countries to go along with him. It sounds like they are, but I don't know if they're still buying the petroleum products and they're still relying on Russia.
Yeah,
Russia's in the catbird seat.
We already started on 27th of this month. Which was Tuesday. Yesterday was the 28th. Oh yes, yesterday was the 27th. So 27th. So yesterday, the secondary tariffs on India. 25% was became effective. So the India's tariff to the U.S. is 25 plus 25 equal to 50%.
Wow.
Among the 50%, 25% is the base tax, and then 25% it's because India continuously purchasing Russian oil. So
Nansu, that sounds to me like Tim Cook jumped out of the frying pan right into the fire.
Yeah, but that part is easy. I think that Trump can say, well, all the Apple products are exempt, or whatever the electronic, phones are exempt, or whatever. That part is easy. But the difficult part is we can't do this alone. We have to have the EU countries because that's their war. We're helping them. Yes. Now we are sanctioned Indian product, and then Indian is going to say, "Oh, we're going to sell instead of selling the product to the United States, we're going to sell them to the EU." See,
and EU will buy them, right?
Yeah,
because that's been their behavior,
sense, right? Yeah. It doesn't make sense. So they need to do the same thing. If they don't do 25%, at least they will do 20, or maybe at least 15, right? Yeah. But they don't even do anything. You know, we are the ones try to help them to stop the war. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, let's turn back to Zhongnanhai, which is the principal residence of the Chinese Communist Party elite. Now, it is, I guess, a forbidden city, but it's not the forbidden city, is it?
It used to be in Qing Dynasty.
In Qing Dynasty. Now, is there still a forbidden city in Beijing?
Well, there is a forbidden city that's well reserved now in Qing Dynasty's royal family. Basically, queens and emperors they have two places: forbidden city, and then there's
Nanjing.
Zhongnanhai. You know
Okay.
that Zhongnanhai is actually they call it Hai. Hai means sea, right? It's
Right.
actually a big lake. It's a huge lake in Beijing, and then so during that Qing Dynasty, the whole lake it belongs to the royal family, and now after but now what happened is they separate the northern part, to make the northern part open as a park,
Hmm.
and but then the center part and the southern part, that's a Zhong and Nan, Zhong Nan Hai, right? Zhong means middle,
Middle.
and Nan means south. So the southern part and the middle part becomes the principal residence of the head of a communist state.
Now, which brings up a very interesting question that I've always wondered about. Is not the Chinese Communist Party the Red Empire? Empire?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, it seems like it's just another version of what has always transpired in China. You go from one dynasty to the next, and
No, it's not.
it's not.
It is totally not. You make big mistake.
Okay.
You see, when you talk about this is how the Westerners often made a mistake when they talk about Chinese culture. They talk about the communist regime, their mismanagement of the economy. See, see when you're talking about all these things without ideological difference. Communism it's something totally against all tradition, all free market economy philosophy. See, what Xi Jinping is making, the decision he's making, it's an ideological decision. It's like a religious decision. You know,
Right.
don't think about. That's why if you think you think mismanagement, or if you think this is the mismanagement issue of the economy, go to Iran. See how much price the Iranian leader want to pay, to suffer their economy in order to keep their religion. That's the same kind of approach Xi Jinping is making. So
Okay.
that's the bottom line. If you miss that, that's how you come up with all these short solutions, and you think something can be resolved. Their reform could be continued. No, they're not making that kind of. They're not thinking about money. It's a religious decision. Think about that way.
Okay. Now, the dynasties in China's past, Zhongguo's past, operated on the principles put forth in Confucianism, Taoism,
Yeah,
Buddhism.
that's how the mandate of heaven comes to
Okay.
play, right? So they still believe heaven, meaning they still believe something above them.
Right.
There was a higher authority above them, right? So,
But
but the
not the Red
communism they are
Dynasty.
based on atheism.
Yeah.
There is no authority above them.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
why when they make that decision, um, it it's very hard to turn them back.
Well, let's lighten things up here a little bit. I have a story about the toilet revolution backfiring on the CCP. That sounds like fun, huh? So, a decade or so ago, Xi Jinping decided that they needed to do something about the public facilities being toilets, restrooms, because they had none. So there was no place to go, so people went pretty much anywhere. What they did have was open, so that there was no privacy, and so it became kind of a running joke for the tourists who were just exploring China for the first time. Look at all of this. This is terrible. My goodness. And so the CCP decided to have a toilet revolution and build public toilets throughout the principal areas where tourists visit and elsewhere. And so they did. For 10 years, they built toilets, public toilets. Now they're putting locking doors on these toilets. And furthermore, the locking doors can only be opened if you file your own personal name via your cell phone. You have to register your name with your cell phone. Just like you buy everything else in China, it all happens on the cell phone. Why would you have to register your own personal name to use the public restroom? Because
it's just a way to force you to register your cell phone with your true name.
That's right. So they know when you use a public restroom. Why is that an issue in China? Well, because a lot of people have started using the public restrooms as a venue for their free speech by virtue of what they write on the toilet's walls. And what they write is, down with the CCP, down with Xi Jinping, enough already. And so a lot of the public restrooms throughout China are now a venue for people to express themselves, because before now, you could have a little privacy in the public restrooms. But
pretty soon they're going to have the video surveillance video cameras indoors.
Well, that's the running joke on the internet now. What's next? Video cameras? Well, of course it's going to be what's next. But at any rate, they do have a record of those who have been using these facilities, because you can't use the facility without registering your name. So when they go...
Well, another thing is, besides that, Xi Jinping is mobilized. There's a lot of people getting paid 200 yuan a day, which is about what, $30 US dollars a day right now for these retired people who living in Beijing to get paid to become a security personnel to secure Beijing's street for the coming September 3rd military parade. Now, you know what they do? They have a people, whole night, the shift covering the whole night to look at the electrical poles. Because the people writing that, this is done with the CCP, done with Xi Jinping on electrical poles. So they actually have a security personnel, not the police, of course, but those, I wouldn't say they're full-time employee, but they are the contract security personnel specifically for the security of coming military parade. So they have a shift covering the whole night, just watching every single electrical poles.
Because people were writing on them? Probably
That's right. Just so you know there's somebody's watching, so you don't write something they don't like.
And so everybody's watching everybody now. And evidently they're shutting down the city pretty tightly. And those who live along the parade route had better not open their windows, because they'll probably get shot if they do. It's very tightly controlled. And I bring up the story of the toilet revolution backfiring just to illustrate how incredibly paranoid the CCP is. And I think about how paranoid it must be in Zhongnanhai right now, with so much rumors of coup and so much dissension in the ranks of the elite. Even the princelings seem to be rebelling against Xi Jinping as well.
Those coups are only overseas. They're not inside China.
Yeah, that's right.
Those rumors about the coup is only overseas. That's why I don't believe it. And you look at the human history, any coup at all, they're all secret. Now you have like people tens of thousands of miles away from China, they already know it, then it's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that.
But Michael and Nan already talk about it, and it hasn't happened yet. That means it will never happen.
But you know what? We're not the only one talking about it either.
Of course, on the internet, there's a lot of people talking about that. I don't think that's what's going to happen. That's just, but also, it also means there's a lot of people who hate Xi Jinping, and that's why they love to spread around all these rumors, which it means how unpopular Xi Jinping is as a communist leader.
Well, speaking of that, I have a story that's not really a rumor because we know it. It happened. A week or so ago, an inebriated 23-year-old Chinese woman driving the wrong way on a one-way smashed her $1 million Rolls-Royce SUV head-on into a Mercedes-Benz, seriously injuring its driver. Now, the young lady's Rolls-Royce was pretty smashed up, but no problem. She's got another one, another $1 million Rolls-Royce. So after the accident, the police hauled her off to jail, where she was immediately set free. Rumors said that she bailed herself out with a $70 million bond. $70 million bond. $70 million? And that she had $300 billion in the bank. But the rumors proved to be just that. Nobody knows who she is. We know her name, Yan Lanlan. Yan Lanlan. Now, everybody's trying to figure out who Yan Lanlan is, but no one can seem to find a link to anything. What about the Rolls-Royce registration? This happened in Sydney, Australia, where there's rule of law, and everybody keeps track of things like this. So the Rolls is registered to a holding company in the Caribbean. The trustees of that holding company, good luck on tracking them down. Nobody knows who they are, and nobody can find the names, the people behind the names, I guess. So who is Yan Lanlan? Is she, as the rumors have it, the illegitimate daughter of Chairman Xi Jinping? Some Chinese netizens were insisting that Miss Yang looks like Xi Jinping's mother, and she must be Xi's illegitimate daughter. Truth is, hard to pin down here. Now, there is a Chinese-born Australian journalist by the name of Cheng Lei who says the following. So remember her name, once again, Yang, Y-A-N-G, Lan, L-A-N, L-A-N. So the final two characters are the same. So they repeat. Interesting. So the Australian journalist Cheng Lei says, it's unusual to name your child a double name. That's usually an affectionate term for when they're yet little and young. So when you have a tyke, you give them little loving names. And one way to do that is have a double name. Lan is orchid. So you can, and Cheng says, you can find a number of princelings and even grandkids of top Chinese leaders whose names have that double character. That's supposed to be an unspoken code for they will not go into politics. At any rate, I just thought the story was very interesting for a number of reasons. One, here's an inebriated young Chinese lady, roaring down the street in a Rolls-Royce SUV, smashing head-on into a Mercedes-Benz and rendering the occupant of that car seriously injured with serious injuries. So that is interesting. That she has a reported $300 billion in the bank is interesting. That nobody knows who she is. That makes her very interesting. So, Nan-Su, it sounds to me like she must be very well connected with some very big money. Your thoughts?
Well, see, these are all kind of these things. If they happen in the Western world, it's easy to get confirmation what really happened. So last week, Australia.
Well, it did happen in the Western world. It happened in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, and that's why the Australian court, or the court in Australia, they already made clarification. They didn't issue a bond of $70 million.
That's correct. It was
they didn't
rumors.
Do it. So basically, that's just rumors.
Yes.
Now, and but the Rolls Royce was true, right? So it's still a.
It was definitely true. Yeah, $1.1 million Rolls Royce SUV.
Yeah. So that part is true. So he's still a rich girl, a rich lady, I would say. Who she connects to? I look at all these reports. I found nothing really. I'll be able to rely on to make that decision.
Sure. This is pretty much.
Some of them say that she is Xi Jinping's, a child, a daughter of not a marriage,
illegitimate child. I think
illegitimate child, and some say she is Xi Jinping, one of Xi Jinping's brother's child. There's all kind of specifications. It's just all specifications. So I have no way to find to verify which specification is speculation. I will say speculation. I have no way to identify which one of these speculations are true.
It's interesting to note that she has 5 levels of security, and each one of them lead to a dead end with respect to her true identity. So her first name, don't even know who she is really, and she always wears...
that first name could be a fake one, and even her last name could be a fake one. So
it probably is. But
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you where I wanted to.
That's why I say people spend too much time on this. We need to be aware of China is a growing threat in every minute and every second.
That's true. Now, let me tell you why I put the story on the table. And the why is, how do the CCP elite get all their money out of the country? And who watches over it when it is out of the country? So,
well, the money, belong to Zhongnanhai is obviously, the source we will never be able to find out until the collapse of communist regime.
That's what I wanted to hear. Yes, until the collapse of the communist regime. There you go. Well, we're hoping for that soon, and who knows? Maybe we'll. Well, we're going to take a real quick break here. I'm kind of lapsed here. I hope you excuse me. This is China Now, And I'm Michael Olson with Nansu and you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how Trump wants to bring in 600,000 Chinese students. Going to be exciting.
The Santa Cruz County Fair opens Wednesday, September 10th with FMX Rampage at the Grandstand featuring Adam Jones, X-Game gold medalist with his action team. Thursday, it's the Outlaw Mariachi. Friday, it's the White Album Ensemble. Saturday, Red returns, a Taylor Swift tribute band. And Sunday, the Chata Show. And that evening, Los Dinos. And our drone show at 9 o'clock each night. Pre-sale tickets and information at SantaCruzCountyFair.com.
The Santa Cruz County Fair.
When you need help escaping from an abusive relationship, call on the Angel.
Hello, I am attorney Angel Hess, and I am ready to help you. Whether you or a loved one needs legal protection from an abusive spouse, cohabitant, or neighbor, I will help you. I have over 7 years' experience working as a lawyer protecting others from abusive relationships.
Stop the abuse now. Call on the Angel, attorney Angel L. Hess at santacruzlegal.net.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. Hello, I'm Jenna. Treehouse Dispensary, we use information about cannabis to build community. Listen to Carly.
Thanks, Jenna. For those who wake up in the middle of the night, Treehouse suggests a THC CBN chocolate edible blend like Sleepy Time from Sensi Chew. Sleep the night away.
For answers to your cannabis questions, ask your friends at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive in Soquel, or ourtreehouse.io.
What's your family eating for dinner? Chef Ben here at the Back 9 Grill and Bar, where you can pick up family dinner that feeds 4 to 6 hungry people. Family meals include a full rack of ribs, a whole smoked chicken, pound of pulled pork, and plenty of barbecue sauce. Served with a full quart of baked beans, coleslaw, macaroni and cheese, dinner rolls, pickles, a side of onions, and for dessert, brownies with a pint of Mary Ann's vanilla ice cream. Call and order your family's dinner about 15 minutes before you want to eat. See you at the 9.
Welcome back. This is Zhongnanhai, Zhongguo Shinsai with your gang of 2, Nansu, Michael Olson. And you too, you're making a gang of 3, I guess. So here we are, cruising through Pins and Needles Week at Zhongnanhai, which has 2 meanings, I guess. It's a physical place, but it's also a reference to the central government of China. In the same way we use Washington, D.C. It's a place, but it's also a thing. It's the government. So that's how we kind of give recognition to it. Well, now, another reason I wanted to bring up the young rich gal is in contrast to what we see happening with the farmers and the gig laborers of China right now. As of, I think, the 1st of September, they're going to have to, it's going to be mandatory for them to pay social insurance, which is like our Social Security, I suspect. And it's going to cost a lot of money for people to do that. And there's a lot of people running for the hills trying to avoid it. And one of the more interesting conversations I have witnessed on this subject of trying to avoid paying all of these Social Security tax or social tax that they call it, was that those people who are gig workers or farmers or have marginal incomes see the huge retirement funds given to government workers. And they see the government workers, when they're retired, they're rich. They get huge pension checks for their service to the government. And there's a tremendous amount of resentment, I believe, for those who don't have much, having to pay for those who have a lot. Nansu, any thoughts?
Well, that you're talking about the Social Security and healthcare, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, starting from the September 1st, they're going to force force people to continue their purchase of this, mainly in the way of forcing all the private companies buying those things, pay for their employees, as a part of the payment.
Right.
Uh,
So employees are going to become very expensive.
That's right. The employees are going to become very expensive. Now, in the past, they say you have to. They want them to buy, but they just leave it alone. They don't check. So from September 1st, they're going to start checking on it, and they're facing tremendous amount of a fine if the employers does not purchase that kind of all these kind of different insurance for the employees. So already in China, many companies, including McDonald's, and then like Starbucks, that's for those foreign companies, and plus a bunch of Chinese companies. They're all doing the same thing. They all started put out ads. They want to hire retired people. That when you retire, you don't have to pay for the
monthly so you don't have to pay Social
payment
Security
to your retirement and health plan anymore, right? So when they retire, their benefits are covered by the company, corporation they used to work for, or the government, pension funds. So now all these private business going after these people, because they don't need to pay from their part, from the employer's part, to help these people on health insurance and the retirement and the retire account.
So there you are. They're just like us now. The government's broke, spending a lot more money than it has. Where is it going to get more money? It's going to take it from the folks, right?
Yeah. Well, the major income right now for the Chinese government, it's fines and fees. So the tickets. So they issue a lot of tickets. That's all it is. They issue a lot of tickets, and then they will traffic tickets, or maybe the restaurant owners, they will check if they found something that's not really clean. They will give a tremendous amount of a fine. So there's a lot of ways. That's the only government income right now.
Everybody's guilty of something, and the government's going to find out what it is and fine you for it.
Yep, and then all corruptions. Like it doesn't matter you're a military general or you're government retired officer or officials. They all check. After you retire, they back check 30 years.
Yeah. Well, let's turn to students and how Trump has made this incredible suggestion that he wants 600,000 students from China or from anywhere, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if he singled out China or not, but that's the subject is China. And Laura Ingraham on Fox took him to task for that. What are you doing bringing in all of these people? Well, Trump addressed his cabinet on August 26th, which is very recently, and said, I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here because they'll go out and start building schools and they'll be able to survive it, which is to say China will go out and start building schools and be able to survive it. So when his cabinet said, hey, where did all this come from? He said, well, you know what would happen if they don't come? Our college system would go to hell very quickly. It wouldn't be the top colleges. It would be colleges that struggle on the bottom. So given all of that, yay, let's bring in the Chinese students. There has been a long-standing concerns over espionage in academia linked to the CCP. In recent years, federal prosecutors have brought a number of criminal cases against Chinese students, including those involved in targeting U.S. military installations and whatnot. And on May 27th, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced a plan to aggressively revoke visas of Chinese students, targeting individuals with connections to the CCP or studying in critical fields. We've been talking about this for quite some time. How the
well, even just the last week, they arrested a Chinese researcher who was who quit his job and then but carry a bunch of secrets. It's a research result. He did in the United States, funded by National Institute of Health as well as the Department of Defense. So it's a cancer research project. I don't know how it's related to DoD fund, but apparently, DoD provide a part of the funding. So he quit the job, but he said he deleted everything from his computer. But then he was on his way to go back to China, and he was arrested in airport. I think it's in Texas. And he was arrested, and then they look at his computer. They found, all the files are still there. And also he upload a lot. Also, there are reports that he actually, this guy, Liu Haiyun, I think that's his name. He uploaded a bunch of his research information, which he's not supposed to upload to a Chinese website, like a Baidu Cloud, that kind of.
Oh, wow. Sure.
So
give it to the universe. And we've seen that time and time and time and time again. And that's why Rubio says, hey, we're going to put a stop to that. And even on June 18th, the State Department introduced social media vetting as in the application process for students coming here, especially from China. So, but Trump is adamant, we're going to allow these students to come in. It's very important that we do. 600,000 students. It's very, very important. But we're going to get along with China, he says.
Did he say that's annually or what?
I don't know. It doesn't say. But that's a lot of students.
I don't know. 600,000 is a big number. I think the peak time of Chinese students coming to the United States to study was like 2019 or 2020. That it reached 370,000. So that's it. We already have so much problem here. And now they want.
So what is he thinking? What is Trump?
I don't know what he's thinking.
I think I know. And this is a consequence, I believe, of the China-U.S. trade negotiation. In that, Trump. This is my speculation, but it's a good one. Trump struck a deal with Xi Jinping. Give us the magnets, we'll take the students.
Maybe that's one thing.
I think what it indicates to me is that we're desperate for rare earth magnets. And
rare earth materials and magnetic materials and. We're paying for the price that we are too for the past that during the past 25 years we have been too optimistic about the political change that's going to take place in China, and we gave everything to the Chinese Communist regime. Now we are paying back.
Yeah, and we're giving them access to our country. I've often thought, and I think I've made mention of this, is that the students are soldiers of the CCP, and they are warriors for the CCP, and their job is to come here and get everything they can and take it home.
Yep.
I compare it to the ants and the aphids. Aphids are very tiny critters, and the ants actually farm them. They pick them up and they take the aphid to the part of the plant the ant wants it to eat. The aphid sucks the juice out of that part of the plant. The ant comes back and gets the juice. And I think that's exactly what's going on with respect to 600,000 students coming to the United States.
Well,
Now,
I don't know if it's a good idea to let that happen.
well, I don't either. And
Trump is desperate. I don't know what he's desperate about.
well, I think it's the magnets. I think that's what led him to make the deal. And if you listen to Trump's tone, listen, this is Trump. We're going to allow their students to come in. It's very important. 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China, he said. And then he said something interesting. It's a different relationship that we have now with China. It's a much better relationship economically than it was before with Biden. I don't know what the heck.
I don't know either. I don't know what I
don't know what he's talking about.
Doing?
But
I don't know if he knows what he's doing.
Well, you know, it was really interesting to see video of his staff meeting when he was answering this question, because Marco Rubio was sitting right next to him. And he's looking at Trump going, what the heck are you talking about? Which is exactly what most people, what I would say, what are you talking about here?
Yeah, I don't know how to comment on that. I don't know what's in his mind.
I don't either. Well, that's a good comment, though. We can't see. The only thing we can see that might be a possibility, and to my way of thinking at any rate, is the fact that he cut a deal. And he is a transaction kind of guy. Let's make a deal. Let's talk business. I need that. You need this. Let's make a deal. And the extent to which he's offering up 600,000 students from China meant that he really must have wanted whatever it was he was dealing on. And the only thing I can see is the rare earth magnets. What was it Deng Xiaoping said? Saudi Arabia has the oil, but
Middle East has the oil. We have the rare earth.
We have the rare earth. So
that's 1992.
Yeah. So it would seem like China has a pretty strong hold on Trump with this one, with whatever deal he's making, that he would say something like that. We're going to allow their students to come in. It's very important. 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China, period. There it is. So we're just about to the end of the first hour of China Now, 中国现在, on Pins and Needles Week. Again, why do we say pins and needles? Because there appears to be a lot of uncertainty in Zhongnanhai, which is the residence of the CCP. Can you imagine living in one place with a bunch of other CCPs? Can you imagine the intrigue that goes on in Zhongnanhai? Ooh, all the gossiping, all of the finger pointing, all of the speculation about who's doing what to whom, and you're all there right in the same little village? Must be kind of frightening. I don't know. Have you ever been in Zhongnanhai, or is it a forbidden city, Nansu?
I have been in Forbidden City. I remember that was 1983. That was the year. And then also I was in, not Zhongnanhai, but there's a northern part. That's a Beihai. Bei means north, right? The northern sea. So the center and southern sea, that's the communist leader compound. And then the northern part, it's open. It's a park open for public, open to the public. So I went there in 1983. So that's as far as I can remember.
Mm-hmm. So it's not possible for ordinary citizens to visit Zhongnanhai, then, is it?
No, unless you are, they want you to be there. It's the leadership.
If you're called to come in, yes, you can come in.
Yeah, they call, and then usually you're not going there because you did something bad to them. If you're going to jail, you go straight to jail. They're not going to, take you to Zhongnanhai. So it's somebody their favor. They're going to call to Zhongnanhai, and then you're going to see the bunch of leaders. Who knows? Maybe they'll treat you with good food. I don't know.
Okay. Well, and who was it that Xi Jinping hosted in his digs at Zhongnanhai? It was the leader of, it was Putin's buddy, right across the line from the Ukraine there. What was his name? But at any rate, Putin actually hosted a lunch with him, with the president of whatever country that is, and in Zhongnanhai, and broke a long-standing tradition of allowing people to show him. So that's pretty much been the first hour, but we have a second hour coming, and we have lots of interesting stories. And as we go through these stories, we have to bear in mind that China is going through a tumultuous period right now. Who knows, as Nansu would say, it doesn't make any difference because it's still commies, and commies are all alike. So if they do manage to throw out Xi Jinping, it'll be somebody else who will grow into being a Xi Jinping and will be out of the frying pan and into the fire. So get ready to fight. That's the solution. So, and we will do that, exactly that, in the next hour. So hope to stay tuned as we go there. For Zhongguo Xinsai, lots of good stories and lots of fun conversation with Nansu and Michael Olson. And with that, I think I'll go to my noisemaker. All right. We will be back in about 6 minutes, so don't go away.我们为的来的，我们是中国现在 with your gang of two, Nansu and Michael Olson. And here, I'll pull on this music so it's not quite so obnoxious, but those are war drums. And they are pounding away. And they have been for, how long have we been at war? I guess it really started when with Deng Xiaoping. What do you think, Nansu? The conflict between the United States.
The conflict between United States and what?
China. Yeah, how long have we been contending on a financial basis? How long have we been competing with them?
With
China.
China?
With CCP, yeah. I mean, I don't think we were fighting the CCP per se when Mao was still in charge.
When Mao was in charge, China is so small, right?
Right.
China is so small; they're not a threat to us. And now the problem is, in 2000, our Congress gave China PNTR, which means permanent normal trade relation,
Right.
or the name is most favored trade status nation. And then in 2001, and after a year later, we allowed China to join WTO. That's how China's economy started booming. From 2001 to 2011, the first 10 years after they are allowed to join WTO, China's economy increased 5 times, 5 times. So, and then from 2011 to 2021, the second 10 years, it doubled.
Mm-hmm.
So from 2001 to 2021, China's economy grew tenfold, basically.
Hugely.
That's how we start. So basically, we make them rich. We make our own enemy
rich.
That's exactly the way it is.
Yes, but I'm trying to go back to figure out who it was that really started this competition by which the United States made China rich. And I'm thinking it was Deng Xiaoping. I'm thinking...
Deng Xiaoping coming to normalize, for the purpose of normalize U.S.-China diplomatic relation. So, it started back in... It's actually Chairman Mao, because Chairman Mao played ping pong.
Yes. And the worst trick of all was that Zhou Enlai sent those damn pandas. And that was the end of us.
And then, Americans fell in love with the pandas. We all have this passion over panda love. And that's why Jimmy Carter, abandoned Taiwan and then reestablished a diplomatic relation with communist China. And then that's January 1st, 1979. And then in December of at that time Chairman Mao already died. So in December of 1978, Jimmy Carter invited Deng Xiaoping to come to the United States, and it was to his surprise only after less than 48 hours after he sent Beijing an invitation, Deng Xiaoping said, "I'm coming."
There he came, and he did come.
He did come,
and he did get the money.
For money, basically, he's coming for money. It's on the record, he on his airplane, on the airplane on his way coming to the United States. His assistant staff asking him why the U.S.-China relation is so important, and he said that he was straightforward. He said everybody get along with the United States to become rich.
And getting along with the United States, China got rich.
Yep, that's it. That's why he's coming. He's coming straight after our money. And then we fell to the trap, and then we gave everything we have to them. And now, we make China become industrialized, and at the same time, we actually deindustrialize the United States. Come on, guys.
Not only did we give them our money, but we gave them our jobs, and
not just the jobs. We gave one industry after another to them.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, we can choose someone better to give it to. Maybe give it to our neighbor. Gave it to Mexico. That wouldn't be that much of a threat, right?
Yeah.
But why do we choose China, a communist country, and gave everything we have to them? I don't understand that part.
Because we were greedy. We saw 1.4 million consumers, and we thought, if I sell each one of them anything at all, I'll get rich. And that's what did it. It wasn't Deng Xiaoping's begging. It was our seeing a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But
well, I don't.
didn't work out that way for the United States. A lot of people made a lot of money with that relationship here in the United States and in China, obviously. So, but in terms of our country, we now find ourselves on our hands and knees begging for rare earth magnets from China. And that's sad. That's sad. But it is the way it is. And so how do we get out from underneath this one? Well, that's going to be the story. So, Nansu, you have a story about up there near Alaska, north to Alaska. The Russians are over there. They're flying around again. What's cooking?
Well, in the past week, the surveillance plan from China, within a week, they make direct approach to in the probably around Aleutian Island. It's actually within the air defense territory. That what's the term for that?
ADIZ. It's called an ADIZ. ADIZ. ADIZ.
It's the Air Defense Identification
Zone. Yes.
Yeah. So they actually flew into the Air Defense Identification Zone 5 times within a week. They've been doing that. July. I remember the last time. There's a major event on July 24th of last year. A total 4 bombers. 2 from Russian Air Force, 2 from Chinese Air Force. They form a team together. They flew into the Air Defense Identification Zone around Aleutian Island near Alaska, and all 4 of them had nuclear capabilities.
There it is. And something very interesting about the situation in which they're doing this, they're exercising their strength, or demonstrating it, I guess it would be. And that is Russia or Trump and Putin got together and had a conversation in Alaska. Remember that? And then after,
that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Trump put up a big show in the military base. Basically, his signal was really clear to Putin. We have all these fighter jets, bombers ready. I think there was a couple there was one bomber with 2 F-22 actually.
Right. So it's a B-2
above
flew by.
the head when they met. Standing on the stage. So the signal was, if you want to negotiate for peace, you negotiate all the different. If you don't, then the alternate
is going to be this. Right. Well, what happened next was that Russia conducted the largest air raid of the war on Ukraine, as if to say, heck with you, Trump, we're going to do this. And it seems like this is a behavior that Putin does every time Trump reaches out to him and says he's a real nice guy and we really get along well. Putin does something like that, like having a major air raid on the Ukraine, and then flying these reconnaissance aircraft into the Air Defense Identification Zone around the Aleutian Islands. Now, the Aleutian Islands go really close to Russia. The Komodorsky Islands, really close toward the end of the Aleutian Islands. So if the Air Defense Identification Zone goes all around all of those islands, that pretty much blocks the North Pacific from anybody being able to get in and out. Pretty close. just thinking, that's also a major where a lot of World War II happened, is in the North Pacific there too. So what do you think Russia would be doing snooping around in places that they've already snooped around in a million times? They're just flying the flag, right?
Yeah, well, the problem is it's not only Russia, right? It's the CCP Chinese military, they're joining them too. So they are together on this. So we don't know what they're doing there, but
it appears
I think that obviously it's for military purpose, right? They're not there to fly a passenger.
No,
they're there for the military purpose. So something related to a war, a possibility of a war, or they're trying to find out some weakness in those regions.
Or they're just thumbing their nose at us, which is quite possibly true. Something happened here a week or so ago, I think about 2 weeks, a week and a half ago, that we talked about last week that popped up right back in the news. And that, of course, was the collision of the Chinese Navy destroyer with the Chinese Coast Guard cutter, in which the Chinese Navy destroyer rammed the cutter and literally sliced its bow completely off. And it just kept going. The Chinese Navy destroyer didn't even stop to see if there was anybody in the water that they could rescue. They just kept going right out of the picture, leaving the stunned crew of the Filipino fishing resupply boat to offer assistance to the Coast Guard cutter that was going to drown it in water. Now, that was a really incredible thing, but what's incredible now is that everybody in the world saw pictures of that. And whether it was a deliberate move by the destroyer, which I think it was, or an accidental one, China looks pretty silly on the world stage. In other words, it lost a lot of face. And so what happens when you lose a lot of face in a situation like this? You have to...
So you think they're trying to get it back?
They're trying to get it back by unforced errors, was what they call it. But I don't think it was an unforced error. At any rate, Beijing is now escalating its aggression with unsafe aerial intercepts and is expected to swarm the disputed shoal, that would be the Scarborough Shoal, with its naval and militia forces. So this, they say, I think it was U.S. News and World Report says, this desperate attempt to save face is dangerously raising the stakes in a region where the U.S. has firm security commitments with the Philippines. Now, those firm security commitments means if somebody attacks the Philippines, they attack us. Is that not true, Nansu?
Well, there is a mutual defense treaty between the United States and the Philippines. So basically, if the Chinese military and the Philippine military start shooting each other, then it's the time for the U.S. military to intervene.
Yeah. So if something, the point of the article is that some,
it's similar to Article 5 of NATO, basically.
Yeah. So if somebody does something that's really stupid and it goes awry, what if the Chinese Navy had cut that Philippine supply vessel in two? That.
Well, we don't know. They haven't done it yet, right?
They haven't done it yet.
They ran into one last time and made a big hole on the ship.
Yeah.
The Philippine ship last time, and and then saying unfortunately the two Chinese military actually dashed the Philippine ship at that time when it happened, when the exact moment when this thing happened. There's several reporters from the Western world actually were there, so they caught the moment.
Yeah, and the video of this destroyer chopping the bow off of the Coast Guard cutter is really awesome stuff. I'm sure everybody in the world has seen it once, as the stuff goes around pretty quickly these days. So that is a story. So I'm going to pick up another story here about some good news, I guess. You know, it seemed like throughout the Biden and also the Obama administrations, nobody was really watching what was going on in the Pacific. Throughout the Pacific, we seem to be focused on Europe, as Washington often is. I mean, Washington looks across the water and sees Europe. We here at Santa Cruz Voice, we look across the ocean and we see China. And we see how powerful China has become. But at any rate, it appears as though the Biden administration's policy is giving way to the Trump policy, which is to start making deals around the Pacific Basin with the countries that China has been courting with money and power and everything else. So one of them is the Cook Islands, and they had entered into a joint agreement with China to develop mineral resources. And they're talking about deep sea mining, and looking for the mineral nodules that are said to be in the bottom of the sea in great quantities. And if we could figure out how to get them up, it'll be a great find for the nation. And Lordy knows we've been looking for rare earths pretty intensively, and we haven't been able to find any other than those that we buy from China. So at any rate, China struck a deal with the Cook Islands, and then Trump roared right in and piggybacked on this agreement with China and the Cook Islands. And so it just struck me as very interesting that Donald Trump is wheeling and dealing throughout the Pacific like this, because we haven't been for a long time. I think it was last week we made mention of the fact that the Australian government had reestablished a relationship with the Vanuatu group, and that so maybe we're coming alive again. What do you think, Nansu?
Well, it's pretty complicated. What happened? It's in the southern Pacific. There's a lot of factors playing there, and I think the problem is in the Western society. You know, we don't agree upon on the China policy. So that's why different countries they don't think when they come to evaluate the threat, the level of threat from the CCP communist regime, they come with all different kind of estimated conclusions. So therefore, I don't see a way, any shorter way to solve this problem.
Except to engage, right? I mean, if you turn your back, as we have for quite some time.
Well, I don't know which one it's better. You don't turn back. You continue to give everything to them. But they don't listen to you. As far as they have a chance to come to the United States, they will start dealing. They will start dealing, right? And then there's just no. I don't know the solution. But generally speaking, as long as anybody who opened the door to welcome the foreign student from, I don't think it's just good. Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Well, at any rate, Trump's out there wheeling and dealing, and I'm glad to see somebody wheeling and dealing because I personally witnessed the loss of Vanuatu to the CCP. I saw it happening right before my eyes. And
how did that happen?
How did it happen?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, somebody brought in a suitcase of cash, took it to the prime minister. And the thing about Vanuatu is that the government changes often. It's a family-based clans that shift in and out of the government. So you just have to.
Many of I wouldn't say a lot, but many of these Southern Pacific island countries, they're the same way.
Exactly. So for China, it's really easy. All you have to do is meet the big guy, hand him over a big chunk of cash, and get him to sign up on your Belt and Road projects, and there you are. You're in. And it was a simple yet very effective way of taking over the South Pacific. And so that's where we're at. At any rate, when we come back, there's an island, or I guess it's a peninsula nation in the Pacific that we need to talk about. And its president came to visit Donald Trump recently, and lots of interesting speculation as to what may or may not have happened. We will pick up South Korea when we get back from these messages, so please do stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
It's hot up here. Hi, folks. Warren Knox here of Knox Roofing. Yes, it really does get hot up here, but it's okay because Knox team has been sweating it out on rooftops for 30 summers to make certain your roof will keep you warm and dry through the winter. If you have any doubt about your roof will weather the winter, call Knox Roofing today and ask about a free rooftop inspection. We love it up here. 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
You need a clean, pleasant space to conduct business, but you don't want the burden of a long, expensive lease. Your solution is Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on Soquel Avenue. Satellite offers private offices, meeting and conference rooms, even co-working by the hour, day, week, or month. Schedule a tour at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
Get ready to help build one of America's first local news and talk streaming radio stations. SantaCruzVoice.com. How do you do it? By donating either your time, money, or both. You'll be helping the Voice team construct a powerful infrastructure, one that we can all be proud of. To donate your time, your money, or both, go to SantaCruzVoice.com and click Support. SantaCruzVoice.com and click Support.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top-quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
China Now. And China Now is a lot different than China 20 years ago. My goodness. What was it? 500 times, 500%. No, it grew. It doubled. Is that what it grew?
So from 2001, they joined the WTO to 2011. They grow 5 times, meaning 500%.
500%. Okay.
And then from 2011 to 2021, they double. So from basically 2001 to 2021, the 20 years, China's economy grew tenfold.
Tenfold. So, and it has become a modern metropolis city.
Well, the second largest economy right now, right?
Wow. With 1.4 billion people, give or take. Who knows how many really?
There's a black box. They say how many is how many, basically.
You think so?
Well, that's, everything come out from China is black box. they let you know wherever they want you to know.
They let
right?
you know what you're supposed to think. And if you don't want to think the way they think, then you have to go into the restrooms and write it on the wall. But they're going to catch you because now you have to register your name before you go into the restroom for your free speech moment of writing on the wall.
So that's why, the best thing to do it's not go to a restroom, but go to an electrical pole, and then go to those poles at the middle of the night. Nobody's around. You write wherever you want on the pole. But now that's why they are hiring a bunch of part-time security guys. Watching the poles at the middle of the night.
Incredible. That is being paranoid when it gets right down to it. Well, speaking of paranoid, there's something I'm kind of fearful of, and that is the relationship of South Korea to China. It appears that something happened in South Korea over the past year. It had a very conservative president who somehow found himself booted out of office, and a very progressive left-leaning politician is taken over. And so when he came to visit President Trump, Trump was, what the heck is, this is a quote from Trump. I believe it was something he wrote on his Truth Social. What is going on in South Korea? Seems like a purge or revolution. We can't have that and do business there. I am seeing the new president today at the White House. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So evidently, Trump asked for the meeting, and what was his name? Yoon Suk Yeol, something like that. Oh, no, he was the one that was impeached. He's the conservative guy. The South Korean president's name is Lee Jae-myung, M-Y-U-N-G. So how did this About Face Forward March come into play, Nansu? Have you ever been watching that one?
No.
Okay, so we don't really know.
I'm not following the story. I mean, can you do a little more explanation?
Okay. The previous president of South Korea, Yoon Suk Yeol.
Yin Shi-ye.
Yeah. He was impeached.
He was impeached back in December of last year, and he was it was just like he trying to make a curfew. He tried to activate the martial law.
Yeah, he tried to activate martial law.
Yeah, and then he tried to, and then all the Congress, their legislators rush in to their national Congress building, like a Capitol Hill,
right, Congress, right?
Capitol Hill. Right. So, and then he trying to have the military stop them. So, and then those legislators scramble, climbing over the wall or wherever they need. They actually went into the building, and then they stopped the martial law, and so he gave up, and then then that's why they actually impeached him,
Right.
and the impeachment was successful. So he was removed. Now then they held an election, and they elected a guy. It's much more moderate. That's what happened. But the guy, think about that. The South Korean president just visited the
Yes.
United States and met with Trump, right? He didn't go to Beijing, right? So this is a good sign.
Oh, but yes, he did, because
But
when
he's much softer. He's much softer than the former president, who is a conservative.
Yeah.
So the current president says, Taiwan is not South Korea's business. They don't care. I don't think he's going to do anything to change the mutual defense treaty signed between United States government and South Korea's government. So
we certainly hope that doesn't happen. When the president of South Korea came to visit Trump, and they had this conversation about what the hell's going on here, I guess Trump came away satisfied. But at the same time, the South Korea president sent his emissaries to Beijing. So he was wheeling and dealing with both sides here.
Well, just he's a little, because he's a liberal, right?
Yeah.
He wants to do business with China. That's what it is. He's a little more like he's a little bit more. Comparing the previous president, he's a little bit more on the economic relation with China. And similar to Vietnam, Vietnam want to work with us, get our money, while at the same time work with Beijing, get the money from Beijing.
Right. Yeah. Everybody wants to do business. And so that's what we love doing, too. We love doing business. As long as we get a good deal, because we haven't been getting a very good deal for quite some time. I'm sure a few people got very rich. I know some who did, and good for them for getting rich. But the consequences are going to be very tough for the rest of us. So here's a headline that has me kind of puzzled. China resists Russian pressure to offer security guarantees to the Ukraine. So somehow, I think it was somebody, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Thursday that Russia would insist on its 2022 proposal to guarantees Ukraine's security with forces from the entire United Nations Security Council. And that includes Russia and China.
And China.
Yeah.
And China.
Yeah. So China says, not so quick here. I don't want to play in this ball game. So China is backing down from that commitment. And so Zelensky is saying, well, wait a minute. I don't want either China or Russia guaranteeing the safety of the Ukraine from Russia. That's like having...
I think that could work out. I think...
How would that work?
No, hold on. I think that actually, whatever Russia proposed, it's actually there may be something that could be worked out. Okay?
Right.
Now, think about it a minute. It's about the details. It's not about the principle. Russia say, okay, they want a security force, a peacekeeping force, right? Joined by multiple nations military.
Right.
Now you in
Ukraine,
the
the United Nations force of some kind, perhaps.
no. It's the United Nations, the Security Council, right?
Right.
Those 5 members. That's UK, France, the United States, Russia, and China. Right?
Yep.
Which I think it's the principle. You can work it out in the detail arrangement as far as if we put into the agreements that there will be 5 nations militarily for the peacekeeping. But however, on the Ukraine side, the security force will be the United States, UK, and France, and on the Russian side, the security force will be joined by the Russia and Chinese military.
So we'll
Right?
we'll be facing off against them on the
Yes.
borders, right? So it'll be kind of like a Korea, where you have you have a line in the sand, and they're on one side and we're on the other.
Yeah, so I think basically Russia, if that works out that way, then then the line is drawn. It's between 2 big groups. The Western side, China. On the eastern side, that's China, Russia, while on the western side, that's United States, UK, and France.
Right.
So it's clear.
Well, the other thing that Trump told the president of South Korea was, "Hey, can you connect me with Kim Jong-un? I want to meet him again." And so that would be interesting, because on Trump's first time through, that was quite a splash he made by meeting with Kim Jong-un at the border there. It was a big deal. And Trump really likes big deals. I've come to the conclusion, as has everybody on Earth. So, next story. Chinese companies buying up land in New Hampshire and all over the rest of the world, too. Wonderful article in the Epoch Times about this. Chinese buying up farmland all across the country. And so there's a story about New Hampshire. Why the heck would China be buying up land in New Hampshire?
Maybe they are going after our food. It may not be just the land that's sensitive to the strategic important areas like airbase or something. Maybe they just want to buy the land to grow the food. China always hungry.
Yep.
They don't have enough food, and the reason they supported Russia to invade Ukraine.
Yep.
Ukraine has a lot of food, right?
That breadbasket of Europe for sure.
Right.
And it also has rare earths too. It has everything going for it. A lucky country. So why are they buying up? What kind of land are they buying in New Hampshire? Well, this from MSN and Microsoft Network. In 2 significant deals recently, Chinese investor Sui Liu bought the former Daniel Webster College campus, a former aviation school, in 2017, and 2 years before that, the private Jiahui Education Group bought the Chester College of Republic, a former private liberal arts college. So significant purchases of former college campuses. That's interesting in itself.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that.
I don't either.
Well,
unless you're going to set
Some
up
of
a
them
school.
Maybe the private money. I don't know if did they confirm that's the money from the Chinese government, or maybe some private rich guy.
You never know, do you? because
you never know, right?
Because it's probably connected with the CCP, but you never know. Just like we know nothing of the young lady in Australia who smashed her Rolls Royce. Yang Lan. Yang Lan. Which is Lan is orchid. So no details there, no details anywhere unless they want you to know what the details are. At any rate, Chinese companies and investors purchasing land have been drawing attention for some politicians who are concerned about the possibility of Trojan horse takeover of our military institutions. But another one, in January, the Nongfu Spring Company, China's largest beverage company, bought land next near Nashua's Penichuk water system. So I've been following that one because that water is food. And the community of Nashua is complaining because this big giant corporation is going to be taking their water and bottling it and selling it elsewhere. I think that's the case at any rate. So at any rate, that's kind of a rundown of all of the things that are going on the Pins and Needles week in Beijing, and specifically Zhongnanhai, which is the resident community of the Chinese Party elite. They hang around.
Now, next time when we do our next week's program, we will know
who has to buy the breakfast.
Yeah, and I think the next week we'll know that we see all we need to do is just totally quit wishful thinking. The problem will just go away.
That's what we've been doing for 30 years.
Yeah, well, we can't think that we have to stop thinking. We have to solve the problem that we created for ourselves. That's the way it is.
And there's really no way to solve it. All we could do is stand up to it, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And the only way we can stand up to it is if we are ferocious, every bit as ferocious as they are.
And also we need to have our European allies working with us, do the same, do things together. We need to make them to be responsible. I think Trump is doing that part of the work. They have all these NATO ally nations to increase their military budget to 5%. They already promised they're going to do that, and also if Trump wants to impose tariffs on the secondary tariffs on where the nation that's doing business with Russia, he need to have our European airline nations working with us. If we do 25% on India, they need to at least do 20. That kind of thing. That's the only way you can stop India from buying, Russian oil, right?
Nansu, I've noticed over the years that the progressive community can act in concert, and the conservative community does not act in concert. Even just in talking points, the progressive community will all come out and say the same thing. And it's as if somebody typed it on a piece of paper and said, this is something that everybody should say, so everybody goes out and says it. But if somebody were to tell a conservative what they should say, the conservative is likely to say, I'll say what I want to say and not what you want me to say. And that, I think, is really getting to the core difference between the United States and China. China will force everyone to say the same thing. And they have established an incredible prison within which they have that kind of authority. And that prison is the country of China. Yeah. There's no way, huh? It's just...
Well, just wishful thinking. Just quit wishful thinking. Now, this week, the biggest news is the Chinese military daily newspaper, PLA Daily, and they published a bunch of a public speech made by Zhang Youxia, the general. There's a lot of people giving hope that he's going to do the coup. Now he had made a bunch of public speech to ask the military officers to study Xi Jinping's thoughts, and then to truly understand, to truly use Xi Jinping's thoughts in the coming era. So he's showing his loyalty to Xi Jinping.
Well, for sure, but why did they publish that article now? Do you think there was a reason for them printing that now? I suspect the reason, if there is a reason, was that the rumors are so rampant.
This is the news speech. I think this is all the news speech. This is the news speech.
A news speech. Okay.
In the last week. Now, if he just pick up something from the past, that's a different thing. I think it's a news speech.
Well, my question is, why now? I think he's making a speech because there are so many rumors going rampant and so much wishful thinking around the world that...
Yeah, he just want to clarify what he stands for.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to retire on the fourth plenary meeting, and then he's trying to secure, show his loyalty, and then before he leave. And I think he's just trying to leave a good impression to Xi Jinping, so Xi Jinping will not go after him after he retires from his position and power.
And that's Zhang Youxia made a big move by even allowing the rumor that he was out to take down Xi Jinping to go out into the public. And he knows if he loses, that's what I think. If Zhang Youxia loses and Xi Jinping wins, Zhang Youxia is toast.
Yep. Well, that's why he's trying to, show his loyalty to Xi Jinping. This is what I believe. I think he's trying to show his loyalty to Xi Jinping before he retires.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's why it's Pins and Needles Week in Zhongnanhai, which is the lair of the Chinese Communist Party elite. Must be an interesting place these days. Like to be a fly on the wall for that one. But that is the situation. It is going to be resolved Tuesday when we see the video feed from the parade. If we see Xi Jinping standing tall in the convertible, then we'll know that General Zhang Youxia is toast. And I have to buy Nansu breakfast. That's the deal. But
we're going to have a happy breakfast together.
But if it's not Xi Jinping standing in that convertible and somebody else is, that means Xi Jinping is toast. And somebody else will take over.
Also be happy to buy you a breakfast. I don't care who is killing who. I'm always happy as long as they're killing each other. Zhang Youxia and Xi Jinping, the Communist Party leaders, is killing each other. That makes me really happy. What I don't want to see is they don't try to kill each other. They are together. That doesn't make me happy.
Yes. Do you think in this time there is an opportunity for the Chinese Communist Party to just fall apart?
I think it's too early. I think it's not that part. We're not,
People are not hungry enough, right?
They're not hungry enough. And then think about we gave how much money to them. Think about those tons of money are still theirs. Then they still have too much money. So it's too early for that to happen. I don't see that. But if it happened, I'm happy. But personally, I'm just don't think that's it's going to come that quick.
Well, maybe that young lady in Sydney, Australia, with $300 billion in the bank.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't even. I do. I already say there's no way to verify if those rumors are true or not. And,
there isn't. Nobody even knows who she is. So it is Pins and Needles week in China. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a watch. Keep your eye open see who is in the convertible, because that is the big telltale as to where China will be going in the future. Where we will be going on China Now is wherever China goes. Right, Nansu?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the title of our show, China Now. 中国现在. Friend or foe, war or peace. Wow. And it's always an edgy kind of world for us, because we're watching to see what happens and putting it on the table for you. That's exactly what we will do next week. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. China Now with Nansu, Michael Olson, and you.